If you're tired of your old roller style drawer slides, then stick around and I'll show you how to do a DIY upgrade. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of DP Shop Talk. And today we're going to be taking a look at how to upgrade your drawer slides from the standard Euro style roller slides to full extension side mount ball bearing slides. Now this upgrade can be done anywhere, whether it's your kitchen, your workshop, your bathroom, anywhere that has these type of drawer slides. Now there's three main reasons that you would typically want to make this upgrade. The first is that roller slides generally can't take as much weight as ball bearing slides. The second is that roller slides generally don't glide as smoothly as ball bearing slides. And the third, and usually the most annoying, is that roller slides don't allow the drawer to open up all the way. There's about a quarter of the depth of the drawer that stays inside the cabinet, which makes it a real pain to try and access the things stored at the back of the drawer. So let's jump over to my shop cabinets and I'll show you step by step how to make the upgrade. So these cabinets were here in the shop space when I moved into it back at the beginning of the year, and they've really come in handy. Now all the drawers are outfitted with the standard roller type slides, and they're definitely in need of an upgrade. Now these two drawers here are where I keep my mechanical tools, and I use them quite a bit, so they're the two that I'm going to do the upgrade to. Now the one on the left here I've already done the upgrade to, and as you can see it opens up all the way, giving full access to the whole depth of the drawer, and it also glides very smoothly. Now the one on the right here is the one we're going to be working on today, and as you can see it doesn't open all the way up. That last quarter or so of the drawer stays inside the cabinet, which makes it a real pain trying to get at the tools stored at the back of the drawer. And it also doesn't glide nearly as smoothly as the one on the left that I've already done the upgrade to. So before we jump into the process of actually changing the slides out, I want to quickly go through some of the technical specs and requirements of the slides so you have a better understanding of them. So we'll start with the roller slides that we're going to be replacing. Now they're pretty simple. They're just made up of two components, one that screws to the side of the cabinet inside and the other screws to the bottom edge of the drawer box. So they just have two roller wheels that ride back and forth, so they engage in the track and allow the slide to just slide in and out. Now the critical thing to understand with these type of slides is that they have a little ramp up at the front of the piece that attaches to the drawer box, and what that does is it gives the drawer a self-closing function so that when the slide gets to the last couple inches of travel, it will actually close the drawer on its own. Now keep that in mind because we're going to be talking more about that in just a couple minutes and how it affects your measurements. So these are the new full extension ball bearing slides that we're going to be installing today. So they're pretty simple. They have an inner piece that screws on to the side of the drawer box and an outer piece that screws on to the inside of the cabinet. Now they ride back and forth on ball bearings packed in grease, so they ride very smoothly and very accurately. Now you can get these in different weight ratings. I usually just go with the standard 100-pound unless it's an unusually heavy drawer. You can also get them with a soft close function if that's something that you're looking for. Now I'll put some links down in the video description below so you can easily find these online if you don't have a good local supplier. So the most critical dimension to check before you even buy slides is your side clearance on your drawers. Now that's the dimension from the inside face of your cabinet gable to the outside face of your drawer box. Now that should be 1/2 inch or 12.5 millimeters for these full extension slides to work properly. Now these slides do have some give built into them, so you can be plus or minus about a 32nd of an inch or just under a millimeter and they'll still work, but you want to be as close to that target measurement as possible. Now if you're outside of that measurement, there is possibilities like shimming the slides out or putting a dado in the sides of your drawers to make the slides work, but we're going to stick with the basic swap here today given that you have the proper side clearance measurement. Now the next thing you want to check is the depth of your drawer box from front to back. Now in this case, the drawers are 20 inches deep, So normally you'd go with a 20-inch slide, but in this case I actually bought some 22-inch slides, and the reason for that is I wanted the back of the drawer to even clear the overhang on the countertop to give me full access to the drawer. But in most cases, for most scenarios, I would recommend just going with the same length slide as the depth of your drawer box. Now, the last thing to check is the thickness of the material, both of your drawer box construction and your cabinet construction. In general, as a general rule of thumb, I wouldn't recommend going with material that's any less than ½ an inch thick. If you do, the screws aren't going to have as much to bite into, and it's not going to make for as strong as of an installation. So if your material is thinner, then I would maybe think twice about doing the swap. So enough talking, let's jump into the process of actually doing the swap. The first thing you want to do is take everything out of the drawers that you're going to be working on and then remove the drawers themselves. Now, if you have more than one drawer that you're working on, make sure you label them as to where they go. Next, you need to make a pencil mark on the inside of the cabinet at the top of each slide. Now, this mark should be at the highest point of the slide up near the front. Once all your marks are made, you can go ahead and remove the old slides from the inside of the cabinet as well as from the drawer box. Now, if you have stretchers between the drawers like I do here, then you need to extend the marks you just made with a square so they extend in past the back edge of the stretcher. Now, this next step is critical, so make sure you pay close attention. Now, it's easy enough to unscrew the old slides and screw on some new slides, but maintaining your original drawer spacing and alignment is key, and that's what we're going to do now. So these slides are made in metric, so I'm going to use metric measurements just so we have nice numbers to work with. So take a pair of your old slides, both the inner and the outer piece, put them together and close them as if the drawer was installed and closed. Now, what we need to do is take a measurement from the top of the ledge where the drawer bottom sat up to the highest point on the outer piece of the slide where we just made the pencil marks inside the cabinet. Now, this is where that ramp comes into play that I mentioned earlier. You need to make sure that the slide is in the closed position, because when the slide is open and off of that ramp, that dimension changes. So you want the dimension to be what the slide gave when it was closed. And in this case, with the Blum brand slides, it works out to be 33 millimeters. So now with that measurement taken, we need to measure and mark down 33 millimeters, or whatever your slides measure to be, from the marks that we made inside the cabinet earlier at the top of the old slides. So these new marks become our critical reference marks. So they show us where the bottom edge of the drawer box sat in its closed position, and it allows us to keep it in that position when we install it with the new slides. And you'll see how all that works in just a minute. Now, next we need to measure from the bottom of the cabinet up to those new critical reference marks on both sides. Now, if you're doing a whole bank of drawers, then start with the top drawer and work your way down, writing down all your measurements as you go. So there's one last measurement to be taken, and that's on the new full extension slides. So you need to measure from the bottom edge of the outer piece of the slide to the center of the mounting holes on the inner piece of the slide. And in this case, it works out to be 22 millimeters. So with that measurement taken, you can go ahead and separate the inner and the outer pieces of the new slides. You simply do that by pressing the little plastic locking tab and then pulling the slides apart. Now, I usually wear a disposable glove when I'm working with full extension slides, just to keep the grease off my hand, so I can easily pull the glove off when I'm going back to touching cabinet parts again, so I don't get grease all over everything. So going back to those measurements that we took earlier from the bottom of the cabinet up to the critical reference marks, take whichever of those two is longer if they're not the same, and cut a couple of sticks of scrap material to that length. So these reference sticks will provide temporary reference points for the slide to sit on during installation, so it makes for an easy and accurate installation. Now, if one side is a little higher, like I said, cut that one first, and then you can cut down the pair of sticks to the slightly shorter measurement on the other side of the cabinet. And if you're doing a drawer bank, a whole bank of drawers, then you can cut down the sticks as you work your way down to the bottom drawer. Now, a quick tip for preventing the sticks from falling over when you're using them is take a piece of doubled over masking tape and apply it to the face at the top, and that will stick to the inside of the cabinet, so it prevents it from getting knocked over. So we'll start by setting up the reference sticks on one side of the cabinet and double checking to make sure that the length of them lines up with the critical reference mark. Then the outer piece of the new slide can be set on top of the reference sticks and made flush with the front edge of the cabinet gable. With a sharp pencil, trace the inside of at least 3 of the mounting holes. If you're not sure which holes you should use, check the video description below where I'll give more details. The slide can then be removed and the center of each of the traced mounting holes pre-drilled with a 1/16 inch drill bit. Then the slide can be put back in place and secured with number 6 by 1/2 inch truss head screws. Now it's important to use truss head screws here since they have a low profile head and won't interfere with the operation of the slide. Now we'll repeat the process for the slide on the opposite side of the cabinet. Now with that 22mm dimension that we took earlier to the center of the slide mounting holes, measure and mark up 22mm or whatever your slides measure to be from the bottom edge of the drawer box. Then draw a pencil line along the whole side of the drawer at those marks. The inner piece of the slide can now be placed on the side of the drawer with that pencil line running through the center of the mounting holes. Set the front of the slide 3mm or 1/8 of an inch back from the drawer front and then mark the vertical centers of 3 of the mounting holes. Pre-drill at those marks again with a 1/16 inch drill bit and attach the slide with the truss head screws. Repeat the same process on the other side of the drawer. So now that all the components of the slides are installed, it's time to install the drawer. So to do that, you simply line up the slides on both sides of the drawer. And once they're aligned, then you simply push the drawer in to engage them. I like to pull the drawer in and out just a couple times to make sure that the slides are fully engaged and everything is sliding the way that it's supposed to. Now we maintained our original drawer front position. It's sitting exactly where it used to be, so we've achieved our goal. Now if you find that one of your drawers is sitting a little off from where you'd like it to be, you can adjust that by way of the slotted screw holes in the slides. And again, I'll put more information about that down in the video description below. Now I'll also put links for the slides, the screws, and associated tools there as well. So that's a look at how to upgrade your drawer slides and breathe some new life into your existing drawers. Now obviously I can't cover every possible scenario as far as different cabinet constructions, drawer constructions, and existing slide types, but what I showed today is a very common setup. Now if you have a specific question about a different scenario that you have, you can leave that in the comments below and I'll try and answer it as best I can. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, don't forget to hit that like button, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It's always very much appreciated when you do. As always, make sure you leave your ideas, thoughts, and questions down in the comments below. So thanks for watching, and until next time, let's talk shop.